Hey guys, how's it going? We do have another Warriors Den this week. It was very short, so we'll be covering some stuff that wasn't in this week's, simply because I wasn't able to get to it until Sunday night last week, and I figured might as well just bundle it in because everybody's seen the news, or will wait anyways, so here we are. This week's news, we have new elite outfits. Those will be on screen right now. We also have a ranked Slayer challenge this weekend, so you can go ahead and play ranked, get some bonus loot for doing that. And as the last bit of news is we have a reuse arcade quest. I believe this is the first time they're reusing them, but here we are. If you missed this arcade quest back in January, you can go ahead and replay it, or play it this week and get yourself your once a week guaranteed reward. As I said, this week is pretty dull, so that is the entirety of this week's Warriors Den stream. So let's go ahead and jump into last week, which was a Q&A with the fight team. Specifically, I just want to hit on a few of these questions, such as, why was Raider's dodge guard break not removed? The answer to that is, Stefan felt like there would be outrage if it was removed immediately, given that it was his one tool at the time. And people have complained with other heroes who have had their one tool removed, even when the overall rework is okay. So they went ahead and left that in for a little bit, and it will probably be getting removed either at the end of season or during the mid-season balance patch, which are also a new thing, starting with Vortiger season. Now that Raider is strong, and people have seen this and said, hey, dodge guard break is really powerful, and he's a really strong hero without dodge guard break, they'll probably standardize him and remove that feature from him. Will we be seeing enhanced lights on more characters? The answer to that is yes, but not on all characters, as for example, Orochi could corner you and simply keep throwing out light attacks. That would not be ideal because he has an infinite light chain. Specifically, things they want to look out for is how it could be used in a gank and how it could be used if they could corner you, and not so much how it works out in a duel. Next up, we have how stamina damage works. With the Raider stunning tap, it will always set you to 20 stamina. Regardless of what you are at, if you're under that or over it, you get set to 20. This happens on most stun moves, things that causes the white daze. Knowing that, they will be adjusting it to give it a flat stamina damage, giving it various damage values towards stamina depending on the attack. They will be changing how stamina works in general with the mid-season patch, and for example, you won't be able to deal damage to an opponent's stamina if they're out of stamina. There may still be stamina regen pauses, but we won't be able to permanently out of stamina lock somebody anymore. Another question that a lot of people have is, are the developers okay with characters who can't punish bashes? There's a lot of bashes in game, and not being able to punish them really hurts various characters. The answer that Stefan gave for that is he wants the question to not be, how do I punish, but how do I initiate? He wants punishes to be less important overall, and with punishes being less important, your ability to punish bashes will be less important. The ultimate goal there is that everyone will have an initiation, and they also won't rely on having a bash at the end of their thing, and instead will use a full chain, so that we won't need to deal with constant bashes and constantly punishing bashes for when people miss with them. Then we have the other defensive mechanics. Question for that is, why is Raider's dodge guard break being treated differently from other defensive mechanics? The answer to that is that he's also looking at hidden stance, Sifu's poise, the shinobi backflip, all of these very strong defensive reactive mechanics, and he understands that they're all very hard to punish, even if you're reading the opponent and not just reacting when you see them do it. With these attacks, with these defensive options, he wants there to be more risk to them so that it's not a constant drop into hidden stance and then throw out an attack, for example, or the shinobi's backflip where you leave every engagement and reset the fight every single time. As doing things like that, the constant backflipping, it really hinders the pace of battle, and they don't want that. As a final mention from the Q&A, we have Gladiator's guard being total shit. They've mentioned this before, that the 500 millisecond guard is very weird and awkward in the fight. So to answer that, they're just going to be buffering it. They're also going to be buffing Shinobi's, since his is, I believe, 700 instead of 800 milliseconds. Don't quote me on that, I'm not super familiar. But nonetheless, they've mentioned this previously, that they would be standardizing Reflex Guard even further? The answer to that is that both Gladiator and Shinobi will be getting affected by some sort of change very soon. So, mid-season patch, probably. I don't think that they would say soon and then tell us to wait till next season. So maybe about a month out here, a little less. That does cover most of the Q&A from last week's Warriors Den. Last week's Warriors Den was largely only the Q&A. There was a little bit of tournament talk, but those tournaments are now over, so who cares? And then going back 2 weeks, we had a State of Balance showcase, and in this one we didn't get too much information. It did show us where Vortiger landed though, which appears to be pretty much dead center. So overall, a great hero, good placement there. From this State of Balance though, we do have a few little notes from the developers, such as the Shigoki has a fairly significant pick rate increase. However, he did go up from that. That could be attributed to better players playing him, or simply more people playing him, or the rework has actually significantly buffed Shigoki to the point where he's viable. That one's a bit of a tough one, because you do have to guess there a little bit, but we'll find out with the end of this season if it followed up with that continued support from the Shigoki. We also have the next steps, which were covered in the Q&A a little bit, is they want to nerf escapes so that you can no longer back out from mix-ups too easily. This does come with a hypothetical nerf to the dodge roll, unlocked or sprinted away from type of disengages as well. They'll either be looking at things such as a roll catch or a lunge attack for different characters to compensate kicks that don't have that kind of a thing, or nerfing builds that do have significant abilities to escape. The idea here would be to implement systems that require a prediction rather than a reaction, so you wouldn't get something where you can simply lunge and get every type of escape, but you would get something where if you think they're about to back out of the fight because you've repeatedly been training them to do that, then you would have the ability to predict them leaving and go ahead and throw out an attack that would catch them. Additionally, that goes with an improvement to offense, which they're planning on doing. With their hero improvements, they've been improving the ability for heroes to initiate combat or sustain their chains when they do initiate combat, such as in case of Lawbringer. They do want to do more than that, and they're looking at doing more than that moving into the future of balancing and reworks. We do see a little bit of that with the Raider and Lawbringer, and even the Shigoki on some levels, so hopefully we'll be seeing more of that moving forward into the next heroes. From that, they do realize that their current statistics gathering of full population and the flawed statistics gathering of top 4%, there's not a ton of problems, grand scheme, on those two brackets, but at top level play, tournament play, there are significant issues, and they're still improving on that. They are taking a lot of feedback from those guys as well, so hopefully that means we will be getting a lot of great fixes out of this next batch of improvements. That does wrap up everything I've missed from the For Honor universe the last 2-3 weeks here. Hopefully you don't mind too much. I did leave for a little while here, and then I was just busy. But as always, thank you for watching. If you've stuck through this far, really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on the battlefield.